how to put it, the problem is not, the truly traumatic thing is not to believe, but to believe seriously, too much. And I think that what ritual allows you is, as it were, to get rid of your belief. The idea is, are you too haunted by religious experience? Do you really believe? Is it too horrible of you? My God, I really experienced God, and so on. Not a problem. Practice a ritual, and then it will get mechanized, and you can think about masturbation, whatever you want. You know, the ritual is doing it for you. It's the same thing as, I don't want to repeat it here, that I immensely like, which I think is one of the greatest 20th century inventions, canned laughter on TV. You know, where the TV set literally laughs for you. Now, I may be an idiot here, but for me, it really works in the sense that, let's say, in the evening, you come home, you are tired as a dog. You put on TV, you get the stupid show, Friends, whatever, Cheers, with canned laughter. What's the magic? The magic is, I totally disagree with people who claim that the function of canned laughter, you know, the laughter on TV soundtrack itself, is that to make, as in this idiotic imitation, to make you laugh. It's simply not true. Again, I spoke with some researchers who told me, no, people don't, it doesn't function in this way. No, the point is precisely that you are rid of even the duty to laugh. But, so what's the point? That's the magic. The magic is that, maybe I'm the idiot here, but I'm afraid only I'm not, is that when the show is over, you just stared as an idiot, nonetheless you are relieved as if you laughed. That's the magic of it. The TV laughed for you and it worked as if you did it. And I think that this is even the nice old Catholic manipulation with marriage. Like, it's too much for you to really love a partner. It's too intense. It's unbearable. You know how difficult it is truly to be in love. Like, it ruins your life. It's a catastrophe. I mean, the idea is, get married, you have a ritual, and then you can start to dream, to cheat, whatever. It's, you get the minimum distance of the ritual. Oh my God, I have so many other things, but nonetheless, slowly I will conclude it. So again, to conclude, my first big thesis is that this functioning of ideology, where you are even not aware of your own beliefs. That is to say, it is not as in the classical idea we have of ideology. You officially believe, follow the blah, 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 but secretly you daydream about, or even you are not aware how secretly you are an atheist, wild desires, and so on and so on. No. Today, I claim the situation is almost the opposite one. We are officially hedonists, we don't care, and so on, because we believe where? Not deep in ourselves. I'm not playing this game of deep discovery. Because we believe in our acts. We practice beliefs. Which is why not only it doesn't hurt the official ideology if you don't explicitly believe. My thesis is much stronger, is that today, for an ideology, in order to function, it must not be taken serious by its subjects. It's too much. You must have a distance towards it. Which is why, for me, the most elementary ideological statement is the statement, but I'm not just a slave of ideology, I'm also a human person. There is something more in me, this minimal distance. Where do you find this distance? For example, this is for me one of the signs of ideology at its purest. If you buy a book of a popular author, and you know, on the back side of the cover, you usually get this short description of the author, he published these books, blah, blah, blah. And then to humanize the author, did you notice it? You have usually then 2-3 lines about some private life. In her, now I read a detective novel, she's the best for me, of Patricia Highsmith, and it said at the end, in her free time, Miss Highsmith is gardening and taking care of her cats. You know, this is ideology. This signal. So I tried to do with my last book, the publisher rejected it, to twist this just to shock people, to add, in his free time, Professor Zizek is surfing the internet for child pornography and teaching his son to pull out legs of spiders or something like this. Just to show it how this is the falsity itself. This distance is it. Okay, now the final twist, the final question. If we have this cynical functioning of ideology and so on, but what about so-called fundamentalism then? Isn't nonetheless then fundamentalism, so-called fundamentalism, a good thing in the sense of, my God, they at least really believe? No. Why not? Let me be very precise here. I think that fundamentalism and the utmost postmodern cynicism share something. What I call the decline of the symbolic function. What for me is the symbolic function is that you take a fiction seriously. In the sense of, do you know this old story? I think it was first, you find it in some Marivaux comedy, then it's quoted by Kant, and later this, and then it's even later you find the version with Marx Brothers, this famous anecdote of husband unexpectedly returning home. He finds his wife in bed with another man, and the wife said, now you have to choose. If you truly love, there is nobody here. If you truly love me, you will believe my words, not your eyes. Like you have to. This is what we do. This minimum is the minimum of civilization. That even if you know, belief is always a minimally absurd belief. Now, okay, this is a ridiculous example, but let me give you a much more beautiful, tragic example. Okay, the most kitschy one, almost. You know the diaries of Anna Frank. There is a famous passage there where she says, in spite of all the horrors that the Germans are doing, I still believe in essential divine goodness of every human person. This is a clear act of some kind of absurd wager. Belief has always the moment of this crazy decision, crazy counterfactual wager. In spite of all the evidence, I believe it. And I think this kind of belief should be reasserted even today. Isn't the whole topic, insofar as we accept it, it's more problematic, of human rights, human equality? It's this kind of a crazy wager. In spite of all the differences that I see, I accept it as a wager. Humans are fundamentally dignified. This is an article of faith, and I don't think it's anything ideological about it. What I'm claiming is that the cynical functioning of ideology, where you no longer have this faith in symbolic beliefs, where you simply instrumentalize ideology, and with fundamentalists, they do the same. For both of them, they no longer trust this belief. Of course, it's obvious in what sense cynics don't believe. They simply don't believe, even if they practice beliefs. They don't believe, that's clear. But now you will tell me, but what about fundamentalists? A true fundamentalist, I think, literally does not believe. In what sense? No, it's not any big paradox. What I'm aiming at here is the difference between belief and knowledge. Namely, what gave me this idea is I met some of the so-called fundamentalists, and what shocked me is with what ease the more they are fundamentalists, the more they like modern sciences, cyberspace, and so on and so on. Why? Because for them, now I will try to be as clear as possible, for an authentic Christian to say Christ has arisen from death and so on, it's an absurd article of faith. For them, it's a simple fact. You know what I mean? They don't treat it as this pathetic, impossible, existential wager. Which is why, for example, you know, this very interesting story of the Turin shroud. You know, it was allegedly proven that it is false in 14th century. Now those who claim it's true have another version that nonetheless there are some problems with that atomic decay, how they may. But I think that a true Christian should be horrified at the prospect that this may turn out to be true. Because, my God, if it really is Christ's blood there, you have a nightmare perspective. It's like the first evil idea that comes to your mind is, let's look at the DNA then and see who really is the father. No, I mean, then you will probably discover that it's some Arab servant and so on, no, and so, whatever. So it's for them, but it's not only this opportunism. It's rather that they feel, in a correct way, Christians, that this article of faith is not a matter in this sense of knowledge, while for fundamentalists, it is simply a matter of knowledge. For them, there is no problem here. Religious statements are, for them, statements about simple positive facts. They read the Bible literally. This crazy decision of, in spite of all the facts and so on, I choose to believe in human rights, equality, and so on and so on. They don't have that one, which is why, and I think this is a much more, not only funny, but correct critique of so-called fundamentalism. It is not, as people usually claim, that fundamentalism poses a threat to secular scientific knowledge and so on and so on. This is the superficial appearance, no, with their crazy theories of